To your point about Tesla, Jim, it's now 1.6% of the S&P. 150 billion changes hands on Friday. Also replaces Occidental in the S&P 100. And we're going to talk to Phil LeBeau in a couple moments about how it's going to affect the index overall.
Look, the oil stocks have been bellwethers. When the oils went up, Dave, what happened is that was the signal to get out of the traditional software and tech names and go into the industrials. It'll be interesting to see whether the decline in the airlines, but most particularly the decline in oil, may mean that trades over. And we have to revert to what we were buying before, which is the stay-at-home stocks, the Zooms.
Yeah, although unclear exactly how long that will last. But your point's an important one. I mean, energy did very, very well.
Leader.
But long term, it's not what a lot of funds want to own. It's not necessarily going to be a core part of a portfolio for a long period of time. And as we pointed out many times, of course, given the ESG mandates that are applying to more and more pools of assets these days, it becomes even more difficult to find sort of a shareholder base for some of these names, or at least an expanding shareholder base.
Couldn't agree more. But let's hear from Phil, because Phil's got what I hope is some good news about the airlines, but I don't know. And then in terms of Tesla, I think that a lot of good things happen with Tesla, Carl. Maybe Phil has a contrary view or knows more than I do.
Yeah. No. Well, I think you might be right.
Carl, I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
Go ahead, Phil.
In response to what Jim was saying in terms of, with Tesla and whether there are good things coming, there's no shortage of people out there who believe that there are a number of catalysts in the future when it comes to Tesla. Look at their annual sales. We're going to hear about those the first couple of days of January for the current year. And the projection is 500,000 vehicles. Look, if they come in at 485,000, 490,000, do I think the stock is going to sell off? No. But I do find this interesting, Jim. We had our data team leading up to this day with the inclusion in the S&P 500. We asked the data team, how volatile has Tesla's stock been in the last year in terms of its daily volatility, the price change, relative to everybody else in the S&P 500? Look at this. Far more volatile. 5.69%. In fact, there's only 20 stocks in the S&P 500 that were more volatile than Tesla. The average volatility, 3.37%. Oh, and one other thing, guys. We heard from Elon Musk this morning. He's not doing interviews. He's not talking about being included in the S&P 500, but he did communicate the way we hear from him almost always. Via Twitter, sent out a tweet, I think about 45 minutes ago. This is rather humble for Elon. Thanks to everyone who worked so hard to make Tesla successful. My heart goes out to you. So as we watch Tesla, I know there are people saying, well, are we going to hear more from Elon? I don't think we hear much from him for a while.
Well, I mean, Phil, if following up on what you said in terms of the team, you know that the big movers in the S&P have always been tech. It's always been FAANG. This is the first non-traditional tech stock that could really move this market, couldn't it?
It could. And look, you listen to Gene Munster and Loop Ventures. He believes that there are more catalysts on the tech side, whether you're looking at software innovation, some of the things that they're doing away from the purely automotive aspects of Tesla. And there are many people who agree with that. Having said that, Jim, there's a nice counter argument out there about the increased competition that is coming. Volkswagen's ID.4 is doing well in Europe. Does that continue? Because it is slowing down Tesla's sales, at least within the last quarter or so in Europe. What happens in China? There's greater competition there. And then, of course, we know that here in the United States, I mean, there really hasn't been any competition. That's going to change over the next 2 or 3 years.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.